Hello students, this is your social science teacher Ayana. I hope you are well and utilizing the time wisely.
In the previous class, you learned about Economics Chapter 1, Understanding Development, Perspective, Measurement and Sustainability. Today, you are going to learn about Chapter 2, Employment in India and Tamil Nadu. Students, please watch this video very carefully till the end. Fine. Let us enter into the second chapter, Employment in India and Tamil Nadu. First, we will discuss introduction from this lesson. Students, take the page number 293. Introduction. Students, you know the basic needs of every human being are food, clothes and shelter. In the present world, one more essential need has to be added in this list. That is employment. Students, what is meant by employment? Employment refers to a situation in which all the workers who are capable of working and willing to work get an employment at reasonable wages. Listen the paragraph. To survive in the world, we all need employment to earn money. Those who are engaged in economic activities, in whatever capacity, high or low, are called employees. People who employ these workers and pay rewards for their work are called the employers. Labor force of the economy is the number of people in the country who work and also capable of working. Students, what is meant by labor? Labor is the human input into production process. According to Alfred Marshall defines labor as the use or exertion of body or mind, partly or wholly, with a view to secure an income apart from the pleasure derived from the work. Here, labor force is refers to labor force of the economy is the number of peoples in the country who work and also capable of working. We take the age group of 15 to 16 years for the computation of working force. Persons who are less than 15 years are considered as children. And the person who have crossed 60 years of age are excluded as they are not physically fit to undertake productive occupation. If larger percentage of population is accounted by children and old age people, then the progress of the country would be very slow as the working forces is very small. Besides, the small working force will have to maintain larger non-working force for feeding out of the small national product. Next, you are going to learn about employment structure in India. The nature of employment in India is multidimensional. Some get employment throughout the year. Some other gets employment for only a few months in a year. The economy is classified into three sectors: primary or agricultural sectors. What is meant by primary sector or agricultural sectors? Agricultural sector is known as primary sector, in which agricultural operations are undertake agriculture based allied activities, productions of raw materials such as cattle farm, fishing, mining, forestry, corn, coal, etc. are also undertaken. Second, secondary sector or industrial sectors. Secondary sector or industrial sector is refers to which the goods and the commodities are produced by transforming the raw material. Important industries are iron and steel industry, cotton textile industry, jute industry, sugar industry, cement industry, paper industry, petrochemical industry, automobile industry and other small scale industries. Third, service sectors. Service sector, it is otherwise known as tertiary sectors. It includes government, scientific research, transport and communication, trade, postal and telegraph, banking, education, entertainment. healthcare and information technology, etc. In the 20th century, economists began to suggest that traditional territory service would be further distinguished from quaternary and quinary service sectors. The structure of employment denotes the number of workers engaged in different sectors of the economy, though the occupational pattern varies from one country to another. One can find in developing countries like India that a large workforce will be engaged in primary sector or agriculture sector, while a small proportion in secondary and service sectors. Whereas in well-developed countries, the proportion of workforce engaged in agriculture will be very small, and a majority of labor force will be in the industrial and service sectors. Employment has always featured as an important element of development policy in India. Employment growth has increased at an average rate of 2% during the past 4 decades since 1972 up to 1973. The pace of employment growth in India slowed in the last 2 years, with job creation growing 3.9% in the year 2017 up to 2018 and 2.8% in 2018 up to 2019. Secondly, we will discuss types of employment, organized and unorganized sectors. Organized sectors. Students, take the page number 294. Organized sector is a sector where terms and conditions of employment are regular and as per rules and regulation passed by the government. The terms and conditions of employment follow the main tenet of various acts passed by the government, like the Minimum Wage Act, Payment of Gratuity Act, etc. In short, the organized sector is one that is incorporated with the appropriate authority or government and follow appropriate rules and regulations. In short, organized sector are those which are deliberately planned, designed and duly sanctioned by competent authority. They are formal by nature. In India, employees of central and state governments, banks, railways, insurance, industry and so on can be called as organized sector. The sector works according to certain rules and regulation given in the law. Organized sector has some formal processes and procedures. That employees in these sectors are provided with job security and receive higher wages than those of the unorganized sectors. Organized sector gives good salary, fixed working hours, paid holidays and provides medical allowance and insurance also. Students, see the bar diagram. This bar diagram shows share of sectors in employment in India. According to National Sample Survey Office, the share of primary sector or agriculture sector has declined from 74% in 1972 up to 73 to 49% in the year 2011 up to 2012. For the same year, secondary sector or industrial sectors has increased from 11% in the year 1972 up to 73 to 24% in the year 2011 up to 2012. The share of service sectors also increased from 15% in the year 1972 up to 73 to 27% in the year 2011 up to 2012. Next, unorganized sectors. The unorganized sectors of the economy characteristics by the household manufacturing activity and small scale industry. In other words, as per Ministry of Labour and Employment definition, unorganized sector means an enterprise owned by individual self-employed workers and engaged in the production or sale of goods or providing services of any kind whatsoever, and where the enterprise employs workers, the number of such workers is less than 10. Jobs here are low paid and often not regular. Mostly they do not have paid leave, holiday, leave due to sickness and so on. Employment is not secure. When there is no work, people are asked to leave the job. This sector includes a large number of people who are employed on their own doing small jobs such as selling on the street, doing repairs work and so on. In the unorganized sector, the employment terms are not fixed and regular. They do not enjoy any special benefits or job security. These enterprises are not registered with the government. Next, public sector versus private sector. Economic activities are classified into public and private sector based on who own assets and is responsible for the delivery of services. Students, what is meant by private sector and public sector? First, public sector. The public sector of an economy is the sector that provides a range of governmental service including infrastructure, public transportation, public education, healthcare, police and ministry service. Next, private sector. The private sector is the part of the economy sometimes referred to as the citizen sectors, which is owned by private individuals or groups, usually as a means of enterprise for profit, rather than being owned by the state. Student, see the flow chart. This flow chart explains there are two type of sectors. First, public sector, second one, private sector. Public sector can be classified into four major heads: public sector, local government, central government, nationalized industries. Private sector can be classified into three categories. First, unincorporated, incorporated, franchises. A franchise is a type of license that a party acquires to allow them to have access to a business preparatory knowledge, process and trademarks in order to allow the party to sell a product or provide a service under the business name. Lastly, you are going to learn about employment pattern. In recent year, there has been a change in the employment pattern and this has helped the employers to develop more flexible working patterns among their employees. The trends are increasing self-employment, firms using fewer full employment employees and tending to offer more short-run contracts. Third, there has been a growth in part-time employment. This may be due to lifestyle of the people. Employment trends in Tamil Nadu. Agriculture, despite a sharp decline in gross domestic product, continues to be the largest employer in Tamil Nadu. This is because the non-agricultural sector are yet to generate enough employment to affect a shift of labor force. Most of the employment growth in Tamil Nadu has been contributed by the unorganized and informal sectors. Lastly, you are going to learn about employment in Iruvelpattu, a case study. What is happening in the employment scenario can be understood not only from national or state level, but also from the study of village economy. Iruvelpattu is one such village in Viluppuram district in Tamil Nadu. This village has been studied for more than 100 years by many scholars. This village is also called Slater Village as Gilbert Slater was the first scholar working in the University of Madras to go with his students to study this village in 1916. Over the years, many scholars surveyed the occupations of villages and collected many more details of each person in village. It was clearly observed that the government brought social security awareness among the people of the village through primary health care, provision of schools and the maintenance of public distribution system. Though this village underwent many changes, it is still dependent on agriculture as the main occupation. Look at the following table or chart. You will notice that during 1981, out of 100 families, 24% were engaged in non-agricultural laborers. In 2008, the number of families engaged in such employment increased to 41%. During 1981 up to 2008, the proportion of families engaged in agriculture has declined from 34% to 26%, both as agricultural laborers and as cultivators. Students, see the table. This table shows employment details of household in Irvelpattu in Tamil Nadu. The share of cultivators has declined from 42% in 1981 to 33% in 2008. For the same years, agricultural laborers declined from 34% in 1981 to 26% in the year 2008. And non-agricultural laborers has increased from 24% in 1981 to 41% in the year 2008. Students, see the bar diagram. This bar diagram shows employment details of household in Irvelpattu in Tamil Nadu. It is divided under three heads like cultivators, agricultural laborers and non-agricultural laborers. That's all for today. We will continue in the next class. Finish the assignment by clicking the link below.